Meanwhile, the people of Earth Zero are looking at us, going, whoa, what's all this stuff about race and sex? I mean, we understand skin color and reproductive organs. Yeah, we're not erasing anybody's biology.
See, it's such a huge conflation because
I know.
What is the distinction between the bigs and the minis? I mean, there's a giant distinction between sex. I mean, race we can have a nuanced conversation about, but
I don't think distinction is the word you're looking for. I think you're looking for utility here.
Right.
Because you can make an argument that in some alternate Earth where for some reason slavery based on race never existed. Okay. For some, events happened differently.
Mm-hmm.
There's still slavery, but it was like Romans, people enslaved people they conquered. It wasn't chattel race slavery.
Right.
And under that hypothetical, you could say, okay, I could imagine a world where race isn't really thought of or it's still like it would exist. Like you have white skin, black skin, but no one would really give it importance. I could understand that world existing because that categorization, that social construction existed around very specific utility of slavery.
Right.
But with sex, that social construction relies around the utility of reproducing.
Right, which is essential. I mean, I think it's essential. I don't know how you feel, but
I would agree with you. Which is essential to the fucking human life. So I cannot, in my wildest dreams, imagine any hypothetical magical Earth that have humans that behave or look anything like us, that reproduce the way that we do, that would not have this same important social constructions built around sex. That's inconceivable.
Yeah.
But this is the dumbness of a lot of Philosophy Tube's arguments. And she's inserting premises into her hypotheticals and doesn't even realize it because she's already so on board with everything is a social construct. Therefore, it's arbitrary and we can deconstruct it.
Yeah, it's terrible. I was looking at the whole makeup situation, and it's so funny because makeup is, and people will argue about this. Oh, I wear makeup to make me feel good. I don't wear makeup. I don't wear makeup to attract toxic men. Are you kidding me? It's all about me. I want to feel good. Well, what makes you feel good? Oh, when you get attention from people.
Or the idea of being attractive, yes.
That's what makes you feel good. The attention that other people,
I know.
What do you think that attention is part of the social contract?
Right. And there's some grand irony here too, because you have a trans woman arguing about the social construction of gender. Really. That's really the argument that's being made here. And you say, wait a minute. How can... Because in this, you have like a trans woman is going to dress up and wear makeup all to appear generally as feminine as possible.
Right. Right.
Why are you engaged in this? And then they would say something like, well, society has constructed what it means to be a woman, and I'm just trying to do my best to follow that social construction.
To play the game.
Okay, that's fair. However, why do you feel the need to do that? And how can you argue that need is biological?
Well, you can't get the attention. My thinking is like there's other players involved here. Like why are the men attracted to the red lips?
Well, but hold on, because that's a different idea. Okay, when you look at the transgender stuff, the $1 million question, the hypocrisy built into their movement that they don't have an answer for is how can the gender dysphoria, how can the feeling that they need to transition be biological and innate, and yet the thing they want to transition to is purely social? How does that make any sense?
Yeah, that's a huge contradiction.
How can the brain have an innate desire to transition into something that
just
exists purely socially? Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, wealth is a social construct, and I want to transition into a wealthy person. Right?
Well, no. You want to accrue the benefits that wealth grants you.
Oh, yeah.
But that's because there are distinct rules which your brain understands that means you're wealthy. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So but that also means that your brain must have coded into it. If your brain has a innate desire to be male or female, that must mean the brain also has innate definitions inside of it of what it means to be male or female to some degree.
Man, this is such bullshit, because I think it's more social construct than anything.
But wait, do you disagree with that?
Well, I mean, it's tricky, because I knew, like, the innate drives for myself, obviously, and I'm just one person. I don't want to speak for anyone else, but the innate drives in me were always, I'm like females. Like, I want to get females. Like, I want females to be interested in me.
But wait a minute.
Yes.
That goes to what I'm saying. If you have an innate desire to reproduce with a woman, doesn't that mean that the brain would have to have an innate map to some extent, or innate definition of what it means to be a woman, so that you can seek a woman?
Yes. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
There are certain physical cues that I would go off of.
Right. But what I'm saying is that those physical cues have to be innate. They have to be built into your brain.
Where the social construction aspect of what it is to be masculine comes in, though, is that what can I finish, or what's going on?
Well, I was just gonna say, don't use the term social construct, because that's a different idea, right?
Well, is it though? Because listen, when obviously early girlfriends that I had would give me advice on how I could be more attractive to them.
Right.
Which I was completely in the dark about. Like, I didn't know these things. I don't have some innate how to be attracted to women thing in my
shave your
brain.
neck. Yes.
Yes,
exactly.
shave your neck. Exactly. Perfect example. So these cues I picked up on pretty quickly, and they seemed to work. I would try them out. Oh yeah, that works. I get a lot more looks. I get a lot more interest, a lot more. Yeah. So, I mean, those things, I'm assuming, obviously men have the same thing. Like we would say, well, I guess just all women are attractive.
Yeah, but
so
the leftists would say that all the things you're describing are entirely products of society and culture.
Well, I agree. It's to some extent. Well, I don't necessarily know. I mean,
but they're saying everything.
Wasn't that innate in what the women? I mean, I'm assuming the girlfriends that gave me this advice had certain. I mean, I'm assuming that was like, maybe they got together with their girlfriends and they all made a list of things that they liked.
Here's where things get tricky. Okay, so let's use the shaving your neck as an example. Okay, I don't think that there's an innate biology into women being attracted to guys who shave their necks. Okay. What I think there is that there's an innate desire.
Oh my God. Your internet today is just awful.
And now
your internet keeps cutting out.
I'm sorry.
We lost you at innate. There's an innate what?
There's an innate desire for women to mate with people that are successful.
Right.
Okay.
And successful guys shave their necks?
And there's a social norm that being successful in our society generally means looking clean and professional to some degree.
Oh,
right?
That's a good idea.
Okay. And so shaving your neck is like, if you're unkempt looking, generally people that are unkempt looking, not always, because there's always exceptions, we with the rock stars and all those people, but for the most part, people that are unkempt are not super successful in their lives. Okay.
I think women are fixated on jaw lines, and it also creates like this very distinct jawline.
That could be.
When you shave your neck. Right. Yeah.
That could be. That's another good example.
That's part of it as well. Why are women fixated on jawlines? Is that a social construct?
Because isn't jawline have something to do with
testosterone level? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But my only point is that they always try to make the argument that these traits of being a man or a woman or attraction are entirely created by society, not social constructs, but are entirely deemed worthy by society. And I'm saying that can't possibly be true if you have an innate sense of gender identity that you're born with.
Yeah. Yes. There's
That can't
definitely
be true.
there's like a gene culture coevolution going on. I think that's Joseph Henrich's term.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the example that I always think of in my mind is in Minecraft, okay, there is a chance on a patch of grass that a cow or a pig can spawn randomly.
Wow.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be great if that really happened?
Right. But what that means is the game itself must have the code to make a determination of what it means to be a cow and what it means to be a pig. Otherwise, it could not spawn those things into existence.
Correct. Yeah.
So it has to be the same thing with gender and sex, at least to some degree.
Yeah. It's all just a social construct, man. Why do people even care? Who cares about this stuff?
Well, don't say it's a social because again, intrinsic things are still social constructs.
You're really fighting this term, huh? Social construct. Social construct.
Well, it's because it's not effective to quibble over how that you think the term social contract should be defined differently. It's not effective rhetorically to bother in that argument.
Right.
You get bogged down.
What should I say?
Well, right when we're talking about,
first of all, I don't argue this shit with people online. I don't argue with them. They're just like pointless. It's totally pointless.
Well, what I'm talking about right now is not whether something's social construct. I'm talking about whether something is innate or social, deemed by society.
Right. Well, you realize that if you're going to study gene culture coevolution, a topic that I'm fucking very fascinated by, if you're going to read any of Joseph Henrich's books, he's quickly going to separate out things that are culturally, like cultural learning versus biologically.
Right, and that you should do that.
things.
That's important to do. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I know there is a desire because of the word social and the word construct being together. You want to think of that as meaning cultural things, but it doesn't.
Okay, what does it mean?
It just means that human beings have decided to categorize things together.
Right. Okay.
That's all it means.
Grouping, categorization.
Grouping, sure.
Right. So culture is not a social construct.
Well, no, I'm just saying that when you think of culture, when you think of nature versus nurture, don't think of nurture as being a social construct. Okay. It's a different concept.
Okay. I'm super confused, but that's okay.
Okay. Identifying a group of people by eye color is a social construct.
Correct. Okay.
But obviously the eye color is an intrinsic biological property.
Right.
Okay. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
No one is saying that because eye color is a social construct that it's learned behavior via society.
Well, the arbitrary distinction, and I don't believe any of them are arbitrary. There's no reason to do arbitrary things.
I agree.
Yeah.